Hi everyone, I'm Mahesh Thapa, the starving photographer. I've been absent for quite a long time, but now it's time for a reboot. I promise to bring you quality content on a regular basis. You'll see gear reviews, editing tips, and tutorials to help you become a better photographer. For this reintroduction video, I partnered with Printique to revitalize my studio. So let me show you what I did. I had some colored lights and some knickknacks in the background, but it never felt like it represented me or what my channel was all about. I'm a photographer, and I wanted my studio to reflect that. I could think of no better way than to showcase my photos. Because of the wide format of YouTube, I knew panorama prints were the way to go, so I reached out to Printique and they were gracious enough to let me make 3 large panos. Instead of making one huge print, which is a pain to carry, replace, transport, I decided to split each picture into 3 parts. Behind me is the first one, a snowy farm scene from Eastern Washington. Here, let me move out of the way so you can better appreciate it. This is a pano from Iceland. And finally, this is a pano from Scotland. Now, every time I want a fresh look to my channel, all I have to do is change the background picture. Let me show you a quick way to split a photo into 3 parts using Photoshop. This is how I created my prints, which I think turned out amazingly thanks to Printique. Alright, so I have brought the file into Photoshop. This is one of the prints that I made. It is in a 1:2 panorama format, and I'm going to split this up into 3 equal parts, which will make each part a 2:3 format, so 20 by 30 inches. And at 300 dpi is the ideal setting to make prints on Printique. So if we make the tall 30 and the width 20, it's going to be 20, 40, 60, 60 by 30, again, equals a 1:2 panorama format. That's why this works so well. So this is what I do. And you could split it up into whatever pieces you want, but this is just the example that I have. I'm going to first go to view, and you want to make sure that the snap is selected, and this makes the cropping much easier. And then what I first do is say new guide layout. And a new guide layout, typically you probably won't be presented with these parameters. You may have columns and rows, gutters, maybe something like this. So you may be presented with something like this. Okay, show you a preview. But what you want is you want 3 columns and you want no rows because you're going to make 3 splits from the single file. So number of rows, you can just put 0 or just unclick the rows. All you have are columns. And you don't really need a gutter at all. So I just zero that out. Okay. And there's a preview, and it already gives you the guides for where you should make the crops. Okay, now that we see the guidelines, all we have to do now is crop the image into 3 equal parts with the guidelines to help us, and then export those files and then upload it to Printique. So let's quickly do that. I'm going to select the crop tool, and when I first select it, it shows a 2:3 format, which is great, which is what we want, but we don't know what resolution it's going to do it at. We want it at 300 dpi. So what I like to do is under this box, I want to go to width by height by resolution, and then I want to choose for myself that value. So I want 20 inches as the width, 30 inches as the height, and 300 pixels per inch is just perfect. At this point, you notice the middle portion of that image has already been selected, which is fine. We'll need that eventually anyway. So I hit return, and it selects the image for me. Now let's verify that in fact this is 300 dpi 20 by 30 inch print, which should give us a pixel parameter of about 6,000 by 9,000. So let's see. I'm just going to go under image, canvas size, and yes, 6,000 by 9,000 pixels is what 300 dpi equates to for a 20 by 30 inch print. At this point, I would just say File, Save As, and save it somewhere onto your desktop or wherever you like. You could save it as a TIFF or a JPEG, whatever you like. I've heard from the printers that JPEG at very low compression print quality wise is just the same as TIFF, but you can choose your file format that you'd like to use and hit the save button, and this will get saved. So that's one of the 3 pieces. Now, how do you get the other 2 pieces? Well, it's simple. You go back to your file here, you undo what you just did, and then now take the crop tool, which is already selected, and just go and select the left side. Remember that snapping feature we selected? It takes you perfectly to that 2x3 format. You go ahead, make that selection, save it out, and then undo again and go to the left one like this. Save this as the 3rd file, and once you have those 3 files, you upload it into Printique and then have it printed out. So let me just show you quickly how that's done. I'm going to bring up the Printique website. Here it is. Go ahead and click the create account and then put in your credentials. I already have an account, so I'm going to just sign in, and I'm going to put my credentials in here. And then I am now signed in. So this is, I found, to be the best way and quickest way of getting high quality prints. I go ahead and go into my photo galleries. Okay, if you don't have a photo gallery, you have the option to create your first gallery. But this is the gallery that I created where I uploaded all 9 of the prints that'll make the 9 pictures for the panoramas. And once you've done that, at this point, you can go to Prints, Canvas Prints, and you could choose the size that you want based on the parameters that you chose. But I, for example, did 20 by 30 inch prints. So I click 20 by 30. And once I do that, I say create your print. Now, instead of upload or what have you, I just go to my Printique gallery and then choose a file from one of those folders. And for example, let's say I wanted to choose this file, just for the sake of argument. And when this presents itself, you have several parameters. There are some key things that you must realize, and if you make a mistake, it could be kind of bad as far as the print quality goes. You want to make sure that original is selected if you don't want any tinting or desaturation of your images. I always uncheck the color correction because hopefully you've made color corrections already and you don't want to get surprised by any shifts in color when you finally get the print. I typically take this color correction off, which is on by default, so make sure you unclick that. And if you notice, all of a sudden, there's a little zoom setting. It's already zoomed in a little bit. You don't want that. If you are trying to make pano prints and it zooms up automatically, the prints are not going to line up quite right. So make sure you pay attention to that and zoom out. And because you chose this 300 dpi quality for your prints exactly at 20 by 30, that's what I did, the quality should be all the way up to excellent. And when you're done with that, hit add to cart, and go ahead and make the purchase. It's as easy as that. Hope you found that helpful. That's it for this video, but I want to know what printing related questions you have. Be sure to ask them down in the comments section and I'll answer them as quickly as I can. If you like this content, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.